Hello and welcome to the KEPRS training videos. This video is sponsored by the Office of Education Licensure and Effectiveness, which operates under the authorization of the Education Professional Standards Board and is a part of the Kentucky Department of Education. The specific division that sponsors these videos is the Division of Educator Preparation, Assessment, and Internship. And the name of the system that I will be discussing today is the Kentucky Educator Program Review System, or KEPRS. And there's some contact information with emails and phone numbers. And the nice thing about videos is you can pause this at any time to capture that information. The videos are a group of about 8 or 10 that we'll be making. This particular video is going to focus on new program, submit programs, and close programs. This particular set of functions, along with the contacts and permissions and the profiles above, are basically all program administrative kinds of functions, and you would need special permissions, and we'll cover permissions in the previous video. You would need permissions to be able to run and use those particular modules. When you sign into the EPSB page, you'll be able to pick the KEPRS system. It will look like this. And the reason that we pull all this together is for the program review process. So the KEPRS system is aimed at gathering institutional and provider information, more information about your educator prep programs, your courses and curriculum, your faculty or clinical educators, the assessments, and then of course everything gets aligned to the various standards. This information is then gathered together and used during the program review process or even during a pre-accreditation process getting ready for a CAPE review. So again, once you have logged in, you'll get a landing page that looks like this, and then you would select the KEPRS application, and then this is the KEPRS landing page. Now today's video, we're going to focus on submitting a request for a new program, submitting a review request, which would be the step once you've completed all of the information associated with your new program and you need for it to be reviewed. And then if you need to, there's a program closure process as well. So let's start with the new program request. And the first field that's required here is just to pick a program. And since this is a new program, it could be anything. So there's a rather lengthy list of programs that you can pick from. So I'm going to pretend that I'm creating a biological science program. I then need to pick the particular type of program that I'd like to submit. And I'm going to say I'm just going to create an advanced program. I could multi-pick more of these if I wanted to, if I had a variety of programs and program codes that I wanted to create. I then pick a route, and I'm going to say traditional. And then I also pick a degree or award level. Maybe this is going to be aimed at a master's type program. I then pick my certificate code, and the system sometimes takes a while to search for this because it's searching many combinations of what you have picked here earlier for the potential credentials or certification codes it will put here. So while I'm waiting for it to search, I'm going to pick my delivery mode. I'm going to pick hybrid. And for my program sites, I'm going to say this is going to be on my main campus. It then asks to provide a description of the proposed program. And I'm going to take a look here. I just went to an open web page. I just Googled something here and pulled off some information. And you may have the same kind of thing where you've got something available either through a web page or through a Word document. And you can basically cut and paste that information into your program description, which I'm going to do here. And by the way, anytime if you have a narrative field that looks like this, in the bottom right, you'll see these 3 diagonal bars. And when that's there, you can move this window in or pull it down. And sometimes it makes it easier to read the text that you've keyed in. Okay. It says, how does this new program address the mission and purpose of the EPP? Well, whatever text you want to key in here for that kind of an explanation, that's up to you. And then how will this program align and implement the EPP's quality assurance system? Now, we would really kind of expect to see a rather pointed and specific response in this section. So again, I just Googled something on quality assurance system. And again, if you've got something on your web page or if you've got a Word document that you can reference how your QA system is going to relate to this program, you can cut and paste it into this particular box. Again, I'm going to move the navigation bar over a little bit so I can read it, and then provide a rationale for the necessity of this program. And maybe district told us we need more teachers. And that's it. So what we did here to create a new program, we had a drop down. We picked biological science. We multi-select the program type, the route, the degree award level, and the certificate code. Now it's done with the searching. And these are all of the potential credentials that you could provide through your program. So what I'm going to say here, and I'll get back to Robert. What I'm going to say here is I'm going to pick the biological grades 8 through 12, and maybe I want this to be a rank 1 program. So now that I've got my certificates selected, I'm going to say save program, and it says successfully sent. So basically what this does is it creates an email that goes to the EPSB for review. There may be some questions that they'll call you back and ask you about maybe the breadth and depth of the program that you're creating. And then new additional program codes would be created for you so you can continue to enter information into the KEPRS system. So once you have completed the saving of the new program, you should receive within a couple of minutes, maybe 5 or 10 minutes, you should receive an email, and I'll display what that email is going to look like. There we go. You should receive an email, and the name on it will say no reply at ky.gov. It actually may say kentucky.ky.gov because again, I'm in a test system. But it'll confirm what you were requested in terms of the name, the type, the route, and all the information that you had keyed in there. It then gives you a date and time stamp of when you submitted it, your user ID, your name, and if there was a phone number in the system, it would show it, and the email. So you get basically a confirmation. This email will be very similar to the one that gets sent to the EPSB for review to create a new program and program codes for your system. So let me go back to the KEPRS environment. There we go. And I'll move on to the next phase. After you've submitted a new program and the EPSB comes back and completes its review and gives you codes, you then go into the system and you've created things like your courses and the educators who were assigned to the program. You've answered your responses, and when you've completed all that work, you'll want to submit your program for the EPSB folks to do an initial or a new program review. So this is the step that you would take to do a formal submission of your new programs for review. And again, this is test data, and there isn't very much to fill out here. So you would go in and select a category. Maybe you've been building a gifted education and maybe some health programs, and you can multi-select here for whatever particular programs that you have pending. And then you pick the program codes, and these are the codes that would have been created to support your request for a new program. I'm going to pick all 3 that have been created. And then there's a confirmation box here that basically says, by checking the box, we confirm these programs have been submitted for a formal review. We understand the action requires dedicated resources and experience to be assigned to the effort. We've completed all the required steps, et cetera, et cetera. So you check that box. and then you submit. And here we go. Email is sent successfully, and that creates the formal request that goes to the EPSB to do the review of the programs that you've just submitted. And that's a pretty easy step right there. The third and final module that we'll cover in today's video is going to be the program closure. So you go into this module by starting with the close program, and then you'll need to pick the category of the program that you're going to close. So let me just pick agriculture here. It then displays all of the codes that you have active for agriculture, and then it shows the number of students that you might have in the pipeline. So here you would pick the particular codes that you'd want to close. Maybe there's some cert-only programs that you've decided to close, and then you give the closure reason. And we've got lack of candidates, lack of clinical educators, EPP policy to reduce overhead, lack of future demand. So I'm just going to say there's lack of future demand. We want this closed, and say submit. And it does the submit closure request, and then you're done. So if I want to come back in and maybe close something else, let me go to chemistry. And let me pick one that's actually got students in it, because I want to show you what happens when there's students in the pipeline. So let me pick biological science, traditional initial, master's program. I want to close that program. And it's a little different. For this particular example, since we have students in the pipeline, you're going to need to provide a teach-out program. So once again, we select the particular reason. Maybe we've got an EPP policy. We've decided to reduce overhead and expense. We're going to have to attach a teach-out program, and I've just got a bunch of PDFs here that are basically a lot of standards. So I just need to pick a file, and you know, per our dean, and that's all I really need to say here. And I'll go ahead and do the submit. It's processing, and it will close the program. And again, in your in basket, you'll receive a confirmation email that tells you about the action that you've just taken. So let me go to my email, my in basket. That was the prior one. And I'll go to one here that I had closed a while ago. And this is just going to give you an example of what a closure email would look like. And this one says it was elementary math 2988. Here's the program code. Here's the reason we closed it, number of students that were in the pipeline, and then we've got the teach out file. It's date and time stamped, who you were when you did it, and then the email that's associated with that user ID. And that's about it. So at this point, we will conclude today's video, and we hope you'll come back and join us for other videos as well.